Seniors are struggling financially, with the cost of living for everything on the rise. Everything from going grocery shopping, your utility bills, rent, insurance, on and on and on. It hits especially hard for seniors because they're on a fixed income. A lot of them are just one medical bill or house repair away from being homeless.
The scariest thing for me, for anybody, is to end up at the age of 65 with nothing in the bank. In other words, no investment strategy, no retirement fund, nothing.
So let's talk about the new reality of retirement. I went to the National Council on Aging's website and found that 80% of adults 60 plus are struggling financially. 80%.
That's a big percentage.
In the same National Council on Aging analysis, 50% of people 60 and older don't have an income that the Elder Index says is necessary to survive in the area where they live. Wow. And among adults 65 plus, more than 17 million, about 1 in 3 65 plus older adults are considered economically insecure. That's 200% or below of the poverty.
Raising concerns about a recent hike in rent, Tricia.
All right, so residents tell our Annie Elming that they fear they could be evicted soon if the city doesn't come to the rescue.
Residents emotional here today at the Victory Vistas apartment building as they tell me their affordable housing is no longer affordable. And they say they feel blindsided now that their rent is more than some of their incomes.
Very heartbreaking, disappointing, stressful. And I'm just appalled at the fact that they would do this to us and expect us to sit back and not do anything.
Residents at Victory Vistas Apartments expressing a mix of emotions after a recent notification that their rent would be increasing. And for the residents I spoke with today, they all say their rent is more than doubling.
I was chatting with my stepdaughter yesterday, although I actually don't like to use the word step. I prefer bonus. But she's 22 years old and she's actually quite mature and wise beyond her years. But we were talking about my grandparents, and I'm very blessed to still have them around. My grandfather is 91, my grand's 89. And I was just telling her how they actually can't afford to buy groceries. It was their 67th wedding anniversary this last week, and the family all clubbed together to buy them groceries to fill their cupboards. Now, my grandfather had a really good job. He was an accountant for a very popular vehicle manufacturer for his entire career. He worked until he was 65. He retired. He had his retirement annuity or pension or whatever it was. But how long does that actually last after you retire? And that's the point of my video today, is what are people doing to secure their financial futures if they live beyond what the life expectancy is? Because it happens where people live way beyond the life expectancy and your money runs out.
You've worked all your life, you've paid in all your life, and you've forgotten. And I just had enough, and I worked it out. Right, I'm not going to go on no foreign holidays. Them days have gone by anyway, but I could manage, and I'd have a little bit spare just to do what I wanted. But that's all gone now. As daft as it sounds, I'm even washing like my pots, if I do any pots, in cold water. I have a bathe in cold water. Try and limit my showers. I've had to put my fridge freezer in the garage and buy a little tiny fridge and live from day to day. Just sit and think about it, to destroy you. It would.
But seniors are showing up in higher numbers, and experts tell me they're struggling more than ever. For more than 2 months, 76-year-old David Turner says he's been living, eating, and sleeping in his car. Turner says his debt mounted, and after a couple months behind on rent, his landlord evicted him.
Wages haven't gone up, but the rent has gone up. I read a big article today about Florida. Florida has gone up 40% to 50% in 5 years on the rent. It's forcing people to be homeless. A lot of people are living on the streets because they can't afford an apartment.
This is my tent. There's my little deferring ditch. There's my kitchen. Yes, I am out in the woods. But here's a little secret. I got plenty of privacy. But if you will look right there, there is a road. You can't get to it by vehicle from here because I kind of weave through the trees to find my spot. But in case of emergency, I just walk right over there and get me some help. But I prefer staying out here. You're way back there, that's my latrine. I won't be using it until it dries out. So, and let me introduce you to the crew. Excuse the mess in the tent. There's little Scooter. Hi, Scooter. And there's Buster. And there's a little bit. I got me a heater. I got me my coffee. And I got me tobacco and smoke. I'm good. I can sit this rain out and enjoy myself.
I am a caregiver, and sometimes it is just, it's so heavy to hear of people who are not receiving services. They don't have anybody for whatever reason. There is a gentleman that I learned about 2 days ago who is an amputee and living in a hotel and has a catheter and just all of the things, and was paying rent to live in some rundown hotel, and evidently now the hotel is condemned. They've shut off the power, I'm sure in an effort to get this person out of there. And it's just, I don't know, it's heartbreaking, and I don't have extra money. I'm going to be lucky if I make my bills over the next month, but if I had the ability, I absolutely would help this person. And it's just so breaking to hear about, these situations with our elderly people. Like, we take better care of prisoners than we do our elderly, and I just, for the life of me, I don't understand that. I used to work in jails, and they're so entitled. I don't know. We've got to do better.
As the housing stock shrinks of available units, because that's the other thing. We've had a huge population increase, and then we have people like me, the baby boom, and we are the new homeless, some of us. I mean, some people have been homeless so long, they aged as a homeless person. But a large contributor to homelessness today are older people who are able to hang on, have a low level job, live in a trailer or a small house, or, somewhat poverty. But then an illness comes along and everything's gone. They can't pay a medical bill. The car's repossessed, the house is gone. So there are a lot of older people, and that's a whole different order of service needs, because these are people sometimes with diabetes, advanced cardiac conditions. They've not been homeless before, so it's quite a shock.
Folks, let me tell you, something very wrong is happening in this country, and America's retirees are feeling it first. I'm hearing it everywhere. The cost of living is exploding while monthly pensions stay exactly the same. Seniors are telling me they can't stretch their checks the way they used to. Groceries cost more, rent is higher, medications are unbelievable, and their pension isn't keeping up. These are the people who worked a lifetime, built our economy, raised families, paid taxes, did everything right, and now they're being crushed by prices nobody can explain and nobody in Washington seems willing to fix. It's unfair, it's unacceptable, and it never should have gotten this bad. When I was in office, we protected seniors. We focused on lowering costs, bringing back stability, and giving retirees the dignity they earned. That's what leadership looks like, real results, not excuses. Retirees shouldn't be choosing between heat or food. They shouldn't be losing sleep wondering how far their next pension check will go. America must stand with its seniors, and it starts by fixing this cost of living disaster.
Are you a senior struggling to survive right now, today's economy? Or do you have a family member that's struggling just to get by every day? Share your experience. Leave a comment. I want to hear from you guys. I'll see you soon.